Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? We're all doing very, very well. And yes, we've got some more news on Predator Prey, aka Predator 5. Oh yes. Now, the full trailer was dropped, leaked, just surreptitiously, out the back door of the House of Mouse and unleashed upon the world. And then was swiftly taken down. But yours truly, along with many others, managed to watch it in time and then report back to you guys about what we saw. And I did say that pretty much after that was been leaked, it was going to come out within a few hours' time, and it did. Less than 24 hours later after me doing that video, the full trailer was actually out there for all to see and savour. And I think we were proved right. Everyone was saying how great this looked. You've all seen it now, and it does look amazing, does it not? But there's a few more snippets of news about this now. Again, I was saying, along with many others, how are they going to deal with the Comanche language? Are they going to actually have them speaking Comanche? Our heroine, played by Amber Midthunter, she clearly does speak in native tongue to the dog in the start of that trailer. But then we hear her and the rest of her tribespeople speaking in English. Now, it's been confirmed directly by director Dan Trachtenberg, 10 Cloverfield Lane and all that, yeah, and The Boys and all that kind of stuff, that there's going to be two versions of watching this. This has also been confirmed by the producer, Jahane Myers, who is very attractive, and she is all, the first thing I noticed was that, God, she's gorgeous, and the second thing I noticed was, oh yes, she's genuinely Comanche as well. And she's been on board from this right from the beginning, and has been saying, look, we need to get the Native American languages exposed again and give them some airtime, because out of 400 languages that are native to the First Nations in America, 200 of them have been made extinct already. So it's trying to keep these languages alive. And she being Comanche herself, they're using the Comanche language. Now it's been confirmed that when it comes out on Hulu and Disney Plus, you'll be able to choose which language you want to watch it in. So you can actually, I don't know how they're going to do this, but it'd just be like, yeah, do you want to watch it in native language with subtitles? They haven't mentioned subtitles, but I presume they put them in there for obvious reasons. I'm sure, no matter what language you say, you're one ugly motherfucker, you're going to guess what that is anyway. But we'll just look at him for one thing. So be an option in in Comanche with subtitles, English subtitles, or purely in English. And even then, if it's purely in English, I've got a feeling there'll be a transition sort of phase, a bit like the Hunt for Red October, where they start off speaking Russian, then it segues into them speaking English. The idea being, as you're watching, and it's done in many, many things where it's a foreign language or they're meant to be foreign-speaking characters, but you're an English-speaking person, and it just drifts from there, blah 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 blah, into English. One of the best ways of doing it, I always found, was in the film The 13th Warrior, John McTiernan's Viking epic. God, I love that movie. And Antonio Banderas is the Arabian emissary who's been assigned. He is the 13th Warrior, and on his journey with the Northmen across the seas, it's a retelling of Beowulf, basically, which I've covered many, many times. And I've reviewed 13th Warrior as well and discussed it many times. But he listens to them because obviously it's a foreign language, and he's in the boat, the long ship, and then when you get on land and they're going across the land, across Europe, and each time they sit down by a campfire, he's picking up the language semantics, and he's just listening. And in the end, they're taking the piss out of him, and you're hearing it all in English, but you're getting the idea that a guy that didn't speak English is listening to a language which again is not English and is alien to him, and he picks up all this, but it's all done in English now, and it's superbly well done, and he retaliates with a nice little insult back to one of these Vikings, and they go ballistic. How did you learn our language? I listened, he says. It's fantastic. So what I'm saying is, you're going to have a sequence, I presume, in the sort of the English language version where they'll be speaking Comanche, and then it will just drift into English. I'd like that. So that's now been addressed. I was talking about where the Comanche advisors on set. Well, Jahane Myers is Comanche, she's producer, and because I was talking about the way they're pulling the bowstring back and the reverse hand grip, and they're pulling it back like that, which I've seen done before with Native Americans. but I've never found any actual historical precedent for that. And I've got books on the Apaches, I've got books on the Sioux and the Cheyenne and their tactics and their culture, their ways of life, and how they used, and it doesn't say that. So I'm like, well, is that right? It looks really cool, but is that correct? Well, with Jaheim Myers being there, and definitely they've got Comanche language speaking advisors to help them with the lingo. They're gonna know all this. So I'm gonna take that as read, that is convincing and authentic. So, and the other issue is, what's the music gonna be? And you can hear Alan Silvestri's thunderous main Predator march, which is just so awesome. It's hard to imagine Predator without having Silvestri's militaristic might of music. But the problem you got with that is that how is that going to, because it's very militaristic, as I say, and it fits in with, you know, heavily armed commandos, people in the modern day setting with modern day firepower. And this film very definitely is not that. There's even some hints that the Predator itself is using, for its kind, the Yautja, it's using antiquated weaponry itself. Its technology isn't quite as advanced. It's still got a plasma caster. It's still got, you know, expandable, extendable spears and stuff. Like, it's still got laser targeting. It's still arriving in a bloody big spaceship, for Christ's sake. It's got cloaking technology. So I'm not too sure just how far behind it's going to actually be. I don't know. But, so the music again, should the music reflect Silvestri? I said previously, yes, it should, because there's loads of elements of Silvestri's score for the first two movies, which was then paid massive homage to by John Debney in the film Predators, which has a great soundtrack itself. All the rest we can forget about and dispose of. But, although some of the soundtracks were pretty good, AVP, they're still enjoyable. But it's the Predator 1, Predator 2 and Predators have that same theme running through them. Now, as I say, it's a militaristic sort of thing, so you're not going to have that kind of main army might and muscular nature to it. I wouldn't have thought. It wouldn't fit. But you can still have elements of Silvestri's score in there. Certainly the creepy, suspense-filled stuff, you know, where they realise they're being watched, they realise they're being hunted. The Predator motifs, basically. You can keep those, certainly. And in the sound design with its chirruping and it's oh, actually, I can't even do that. See, what chance have I got with like native Comanche when I can't even do the guttural Predator growl? But alongside that, you want something tribal, something ethnic. And I can't help but think of James Horner with his work for The New Wild and Apocalypto. Exotic, ethnic wood flutes and percussion, tribal percussion. Lots of, you know, spiritualism like that, but this tribal rhythmic element, and that does bleed into Predator. You heard it in Predator 2. Silvestri brought that, even though it was set in LA. You know, let's just get into a bit of well, you've just heard it in fact. So, but I'll just try and find Predator 2 just to kind of illustrate what I mean. Predator, Predators, yeah, Predator 2. Okay, right. Let's go on the. Listen. You know, bongos and drums and, you know, lots of skin percussion. Now this is fast paced, of course, because it's, you know, there's the drug cartels waging war on each other in LA, and it's super fast and highly volatile, high octane action. Different vibe, of course, for Prey. It's primal. It's a land of a wilderness, a beautiful wilderness of tranquility and wildlife and nature. It's not the claustrophobic qualities of the jungle from the first movie or the urban jungle of Predator 2. There's wide open spaces of prairies. There's mountains, there's rivers, you know, it looks gorgeous. The big forested areas with the sunlight coming through and the tribes moving through it, all at the ready. That looks fantastic. So you're going to have, you know, a tribal element to it, a spiritual element to it, haunting woodwinds and ethnic flutes, but you're going to have this furious sort of, nicely timed, yeah. But there's no one attached to it. There's no name as who the composer is. And it's only coming out in a matter of weeks. Now, what is it, the 5th of August? Is it? Something like that, anyway. It's around about that. We're still going to get through June and July, but you know, it's on the way and can't wait. But there's still no name has been bandied about, and you know, that's a bit unusual. They can't just be getting someone in now to score it. Or maybe it plays out in just real ambient sound. Well, there's a thought. You know, that'd be a bit weird, wouldn't it? But it could also work. Just the sound of the bird song, bird call, the creak of the trees, the trickling of rivers and brooks and streams, the crunching of leaves and twigs underfoot. You know, the naturalistic sounds of the environment, animal calls, and then silence. And then all you hear is, I can't do it. God, I can't do it. But I know a way I can. Hang on. Hang on. These are the wild Predator voices, which are on Alan Silvestri's expanded score for Predator 2. Christ, that's actually quite unnerving, isn't it? So again, if you have periods of silence and just the sound of nature around, and then as they're creeping through, and then suddenly silence, and then you hear that. That would really work, would it not? That'd be great. There's also a poster now, a new poster. You've got, what's it? Is it Naru? Naru, the character that Amber Midthunter plays, and it's just a close-up of her face with prey in that jagged sort of jungleistic sort of font that they've used for all the Predator movies. Looks awesome. But it's in full vivid colour. She's got her war paint on, the black Comanche war paint. There's a little bit on her chin and her lips, but she's also smeared with the hyper, ultra OTT fluorescent Predator blood. That is a great image. I'll put that on the thumbnail, in fact. But that looks tremendous. She's actually got the gaudy fluorescent blood of the thing she's fighting back against, the beast she's hunting. She's using that. So you can imagine, I mean, that might only be just for a posted image, but you can imagine, because you see in the trailer, she does bedeck herself in mud. She lies in like a mud pool, and she's like completely covering herself in mud, black mud. But they wear very dark war paint anyway. And excuse me. But in the final duel, the final fight, she's injured it, and she's got it. She knows she's wounded it, and a wounded beast is always the most ferocious and the most threatening. And she's used a bit of its blood to mark herself. I'm coming for you. Could work so well. I'm really, really hyped for this. I made up the full trailers drop now for all to see, and you can all savour that. And there's still so much more to be tantalised by. Who's doing the score? How is this really going to work out? Those Europeans where are they from? Are they Spanish, Dutch, Portuguese, English, French? Where are they from? But it looks like there's going to be a lot of carnage in this. It is at an R rating, so this is all to play for. Predator fans like myself have been craving for a film like this. There is a great fan-made movie about the Predator fighting the Crusaders coming back from the Crusades in Europe somewhere, and they're getting picked off. And it's for a fan-made movie, and that's been out for about 10 years, maybe less, give or take. Excuse me. That's doing all the guttural Predator voices. Doesn't do any good at all, And the guy playing the Predator, he's an ex-professional basketball player. I was saying about the height of this Predator. He's bloody big, bloody tall. And in that costume, wow. The rain is now coming down. Summer rain. It's absolutely pissing it down. I think we get some atmospherics like that in the film as well. You get like a rainstorm, something like that. You've got the foggy set piece in the trees where this sort of grey-white mist is filling the air, the environment, and you've got to fight through that. Looks great. That'll be the sort of pre-dawn mist in the woods. I'm getting really, really worked up for this, folks. And I said I wouldn't do this after the deplorable letdown that was Halloween Kills. I said I'm not hyping films up ever again. I'm never going to do that. Note to self, you're doing it right now. I know. But this is doing everything right. Please, God, don't let us down. After so many predatorial letdowns in the last few years, God, we need to get back on track. This certainly has all the hallmarks of doing that. A good director, a great environment, a great setting, a great time period, so unusual. The Predator looks amazing. The cloaking looks great. It looks a bit different. And you've got a great new hero / heroine in this. And it looks like it's going to be nasty as well. And there's a dog in there. Don't kill that dog! And also don't have Amber Midthunter at the end about to be skewered by the Predator. you know. And the dog suddenly leaps up and sacrifices itself and gives her a chance. I don't want that either. But that dog, you just know something has to happen with the dog. Oh God, no. Please, I'm praying for you, pray, that you don't do it. Don't kill the dog. Anyway, folks, I have been over Shelby Kilt-Man. I'm pretty certain, despite me saying I shouldn't be doing this, I'll be reporting back on Prey again and again and again. And then when I finally get to see it, oh yeah. And I want to be going, yes. And I've got to clear my throat as well. Jesus, what's happened to me? Normally I've got whiskey or beer around. At the moment I have nothing. I've come to this unprepared. Anyway, please, in the meantime, in this ever evocative and tribal in-between time, keep it Celtic, and I'm going to see you all haters, even though I am, as you can quite clearly see, one ugly motherfucker.